Welcome back, guys. We've got a lot to dive into today. Well, let's start out with the biggest thing, Bob, and that's the NCAA injunction hearing up in Greenville. And let's hear what the president of the NCAA thinks about their case.
Right now, there are no rules around how
Right.
name, image, and likeness works. And
After watching that, I'm no lawyer. Tim's no lawyer. I don't know how many of y'all are lawyers, but I feel like I could win this case against the NCAA after hearing him openly admit to having no NIL rules, and then saying later, while during that time period of him saying that, investigating the University of Tennessee for NIL violations.
Yeah,
I
at that
mean,
point of him saying it, they'd already been on campus for months, um, trying to get us on rules that he claims don't exist.
yeah. I mean, as far as this thing going on right now, where we're trying to get the injunction, that's part of the thing.
Yeah. If we win the injunction, that's a pretty big win. But
Yeah,
if we lose the injunction, it's a mighty small loss
yeah,
because it's just one more step.
it
Uh,
is because at some point he's going to answer to that.
And that would
And
probably be in a court case when you actually are bringing forth, witnesses in an actual trial.
yeah,
Be it the attorney generals to
hmm
bring the court case, or uh, if they move forward with this, which they may not,
they may
uh,
not. If they're smart, really, they probably.
they
I,
need to
I
back off.
really think they'll back off at some point.
Um, but sometimes people's egos and just can't allow that. But
Hmm.
um, if they continue on, the university will take them to court. Spire Sports will take them to court. Individual players may jump into those either of those
Yeah,
cases or bring their own,
yeah,
and the NCAA is going to lose at some point. And when they do, is those that's going to be the big loss.
yeah. They're going to lose a lot of money, and they're going to lose a lot of power. I
In
mean,
fact, I heard someone say it. I thought perfectly, um, and that is in the long when you write the book about the demise of the NCAA. This isn't a blurb. This is going to be a chapter.
yeah, it's going to be the first chapter,
Maybe not the first,
and maybe
but
the
it's a chapter.
first and last.
Uh,
But yeah,
but when
it's
do we
it's
think we get a ruling on that, Bob? What's the time frame window?
uh, maxima, but I don't think it's going to last that long.
No, you could hear something honestly today,
Could be.
tomorrow,
Yeah,
anytime. Um, but Bob, and we're going to keep you updated on that.
yeah,
But there's a lot of other stuff going on at UT right now that I
yeah.
want to jump into. One is uh, at least one coach is gone, possibly another.
Hmm.
But man, that UT basketball team looked pretty damn good on the road last night against Arkansas.
Yeah, they looked about as good as they could look. I mean, games like that makes you think they could cut some nets down. I mean, it seems like to me that uh, you want Connect to have big games. That's exciting and all this here stuff. But when you can get the whole team, being spread out and having two guys go over a total of 40 points for you, I think we're going to
That's
win.
not Connect
You're right. That's not Connect.
like we did last night.
Yeah, we're going to win. I think. I mean, you had Adu. I think scored 23, and Gainey had 18, and James I think had 12. I mean, Adu had a heck of a game.
Yeah, he
Shoot
shot
like.
almost 80% almost,
Yeah.
and had a dozen boards to go with it.
Hmm.
Yeah, Tennessee's hard to beat when they do comes to play like that right there.
Yeah.
Um, really, the biggest weakness for this team is simply standing around and watching Dalton connect.
Yeah. I think so. I keep thinking at some point things are just going to click. There's going to be a point in the season where all these guys, it just the team forms well. I mean, we've talked about Piscopi. He didn't have a good game last night. Uh,
Uh, he's not had a whole lot of good games, period.
really, I think he's went from being the guy who's the star, which he said in an interview here recently that he didn't really care, and I believed him listening to him. He didn't care if he scored, 2 points or 25. How he cared about was the W. And uh, listening to him, I believe that, and I think it's just a matter of And he's not been jacking up a bunch of points. I just think he needs to probably be more aggressive, probably.
Well, I think that's it. He hasn't. He knows he's got a different role in this team,
Mm-hmm.
and he's decided that my role is to pass the ball. Hey, and that's fine and dandy. That's great. But the problem is that's not your total role. He's went from one extreme to another, and he's hesitant now in his shot selection. He's had multiple open looks where he should have stroked it and instead, uh, passed it off. He needs to be understand that my role isn't not to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
It's just simply not to shoot as much as I used to.
Yeah, he needs to go in between. He don't need to be. He don't have to be the guy who scores 25, but we don't need him to be the guy that scores 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and James have disappeared at long stretches.
Mm-hmm.
And James has done it his whole career, which is a shame because he's been such a strong player. If you look at his box score all the way through, I mean, but both these guys have to have a little bit more of an offensive mindset this year.
Mm-hmm.
But last night, um, Arkansas just wanted to go home after about halfway through the second half, or they were just hoping.
And
I want to get in the shower room with my buddies.
from looking at the stands, most of the fans went home or didn't come or went home pretty early because it was pretty empty by the time the game was over with. But
Because the game was over with 10
pretty
minutes
early.
before the game was over with.
It was really.
But looking at the rest of the schedule, Bob, I mean the conference is awful crowded at the top right now.
It is.
3 teams, I believe, at 9-2 in the conference. That'd be Alabama, Auburn, South Carolina. Us are 8-3. I'm sorry, and then I think Kentucky back at 7-4. Our schedule, I like the way our schedule ends, and the fact that our next 3 games should be W's.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got Vanderbilt at home. We've got Texas A&M and a rematch at home.
Right.
And we're going on the road against Missouri, which is the worst team in the league this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, we control our destiny.
Because after that, what's the last 4 games, Bob?
Let's see. We got Auburn, and no, not the order. We play Auburn, Alabama, South Carolina, and Kentucky last 4 games. So, we just got to take care of business, play good, and try to, like I think I said in the last video, try to improve as a team, and it'll all work itself out.
Okay, Bob, talking about teams, let's switch over to the football team. And the big news there, we've lost a running back coach.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Mack has moved to NFL. Can't blame him there.
Yeah.
And I know Austin Price over at VolQuest.com. He thinks he's going to be he thinks the replacement's going to be among the people that VolQuest reported the very first day. And those are Max Thurman. He's an analyst on the current team.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Anthony Jones out at TCU, Larry Porter from North Carolina, Carlos Lachlan out of Oregon, Matt Merritt from Miami, who was an analyst for us just a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But he's moved quite a bit since then.
Yeah.
And then Dirk Foster from the Chargers, I believe. I like that group. I think we can get 2 or 3 good candidates out of that group.
Yeah, one good thing, I think they all have ties to Tennessee and ties to the Chattanooga and Memphis area. Several of them do. So, and some of them's been here. So the list makes sense, and they're all strong recruiters from what I can tell, which is key for a running back coach. Got to be a very good recruiter.
Yeah.
That's number 1, and a good coach, number 2. I mean,
And I can't always say that about many positions out there.
but running back coach, that's the way it goes.
I mean, obviously you have to shoot. Pass protection is you've got to be able to coach pass pro. But beyond that, running backs are probably 3/4 born and 1/4 made.
Yeah.
But I think we'll know something with that. I think maybe within the week. You got spring practice coming up. You have to get that.
There's some urgency there. Yeah.
There's some urgency. The bigger news right now at the moment, though, is we might be losing a linebacker coach, Brian John Murray.
Yeah, Michigan's come calling. He's their new coach, Moore, is apparently good friends with.
With him and Marie.
Yeah.
And
So
he used to coach up there.
he used to coach there, and apparently they are offering him a lot of money, and more so than what his market would normally
His market
drop.
value probably ain't
Yeah.
what they're offering.
We countered, but we still believe they are still offering quite
Still-
a bit more than what we are.
Yeah. A couple of things though to look at on that's not just on money. I know we've got some NCAA troubles, but I believe ours is going to work itself out. They might be in the middle of a much messier NCAA issue.
Yeah, because they are guilty,
Yes.
and we are not. And
That's the best way to put it.
That's the best way to look at it.
Yeah.
And I think anybody that looks at both cases will see that pretty easily. That's number one. Number two, man, when you hire the interim coach, the player's favorite, kind of guy, they didn't go out there and hire. Michigan didn't hire like, hey, this is the best guy in the country. They didn't bring in
They didn't do a
Kelly.
national search. They walked down the hall and did a search.
Right. So,
and he may be a fantastic coach.
Maybe, but my opinion, there will be a very short leash on this coach. So, what if that's something else Jean Marie should look at is if will he have a job there in 3 years? And I don't think he will, because you look at their schedule next year, Tim. There's a dang good chance Michigan goes from national champion to not in the playoff next year.
Well, there is, and at Michigan, let's face it, you are compared to Ohio State, and Ohio State right now is recruiting like gangbusters, like a national champion, and they've got a schedule that screams automatic playoff guy. I mean, literally, the only person they play in the old back Big Ten that was going to give them much of a game next year is Michigan. And of the new Pac-10 newcomers, they've got Oregon on the schedule.
So
That's it.
Yeah, if you look at their schedule, you see two tough games. What I think is two teams that are top 15 type
Yeah,
games.
well, Penn State maybe too, but I'd have to look at it. I can't remember if Penn State's on their schedule. I'm sure that they probably are, but I'm sorry, I can't get behind Penn State until they actually do something.
Right.
Michigan, on the other hand, though, Bob, opens up with Texas, who's going to be in the national title run next year, so according to most people. And then out of the Pac-10, whereas Ohio State picked up Oregon, Michigan picks up Southern Cal, they pick up Washington, they pick up Oregon, and then they've got an Ohio State team. The difference in these schedules are massive. They could easily lose 4 games or more, be out of the national title hunt. And as you said earlier, people don't get the long honeymoons.
No, not with the NIL and the transfer portal. Used to, it's 4 years a coach would get.
Yeah, maybe 5.
Maybe 5. But I think those are going to be rare anymore. Now, you really can turn a program around in 2 years. I mean, you really can. With transfer portal, NIL, you can flip your entire roster and get good players in. Where before you had to wait till guys, their eligibility ran out and freshmen to mature. Now you can just bring in juniors who's good at other places. There's really no excuse to not turn a program around in a couple of years now.
Well, to a degree. I mean,
To a degree, right? I know you got your culture you're wanting to build, but you can do something pretty quick now.
You can do it quicker than you used to. That's the biggest thing, and you're required to do it quicker than you used to.
Yeah, they expect it.
So, yeah, those are things Brian John Murray needs to look at before he leaves Tennessee. Hope we keep him, but we'll keep you updated as soon as we hear something. I think, honestly, I'd be shocked if we don't hear something today.
That's my opinion too. It may be done by the time this gets put out. Who knows?
Very possible.
Yeah, because it's going to happen pretty quick, I believe.
And in fact, as I was editing this video, Brian John Murray has taken the Michigan job. So we'll now be looking at what to do with that replacement, whether to go in-house and slide some people around to different spots or go outside the university current coaches. And we should have maybe a few names to toss out within a few hours. So other than that, let's finish this episode up. Thanks, guys. All right, Bob, do you have anything to add?
That's it, Tim.
Well, in that case, go big orange.
Yeah, go Vols.